Well, for you guys that follow me on any of my social media outlets, you've heard me say this from the very beginning, before the lockdown even started over this pandemic. Um, I was voiced my opinions about a lockdown. I could see the lockdown coming, voiced my opinions on what was going to happen if we had a lockdown, and unfortunately, everything that I have already predicted has happened. Um, I don't pretend to be able to read minds or predict the future. Unfortunately, I know history, and we are unfolding things that have already happened in history. Things are going on now that have already happened. Yes, there's been pandemics before. There is a pandemic now. The pandemic is not the sickness, though. This illness, this virus, is no more worse than many other viruses or sicknesses that we already have. The virus is not the pandemic that we have. The pandemic that we have is the government. The government is the illness here. The government is what's going to kill the majority of the population who's going to die from this shutdown. I'm not saying the majority of the population is going to die. I'm saying the majority of the people that do die will be from the shutdown, not the virus. There's so many things that are going to happen. So many things that are already happening. There's a war in the east with Russia and Iran right now over fuel prices. Iran's trying to get Russia to shut down fuel production, and Russia won't do it. And the problem with continuing to extract this fuel, whenever it's not being used, it floods the market and it becomes invaluable. But Russia cannot afford to lose their fuel economy. It makes up approximately half of their income and their economy for their government. Their government income, fuel makes up about half of it, and they cannot afford to lose that. And they're not going to lose it. This is what's going to happen. It's already happened before. Russia will start a war. I'm not saying it's going to be with us. Russia will start a war with someone. Why? To get those governments to use the fuel. They'll use fuel in ships, in their automobiles, in their planes. If you don't know how much fuel a ship or a plane uses, do some research. Matter of fact, talking about research, if you're not scared about this, if you're worried about the virus being the main problem here, you need to do some research, because it's not the main problem. The numbers are wrong. The experts are wrong. Experts have a history of being wrong, especially in cases like this where there's a big pandemic. It happens almost every single time, and you see that Republicans, for the majority of the part, don't use experts. That's the Democrats. Democrats use experts. So now let's get to the whole problem with here in America. The Democrats are pushing this through their media outlets because, number one, majority of the media outlets in America are Democratic owned. There are only a few of them that are Republican. That's why you have all this hatred against Trump, because the Democrats hate Trump no matter what the cost. So you have the majority of the media outlets, Democratic owned, they're pushing this pandemic because they want this economy to tank before the election. Yes, the Democrats want the economy to tank. They don't want it to be good. They have failed at harming Trump with any other thing that they've done. They have thrown everything in the book at Trump and have failed at it. But if they can get the economy to tank and turn some votes around and win the election, that's what this is all about in America. Because you have two different sides of the story. You look at the Democratic media outlets, NBC, CNN, ABC, you watch those and it's all doomsday, pandemic, coronavirus, gonna kill us all, fear, boogeyman. Turn it to something else like Fox News. It's nothing like that. It's all about how the numbers were overblown. It's got doctor after doctor after doctors telling, hey, no, this is not nearly as bad as what it is. They are now comparing it to the common flu. So you have we're on the brink of possibly going to some type of war with Russia to be able to boost the fuel productions back, or somebody will. You have a mass amount of people sitting home now without work, and the majority of Americans live week to week. Matter of fact, I know so many of them that don't even live week to week. They're going to their bosses halfway through the week trying to get advances on their paycheck that they can't wait till Friday to get their paycheck. So that's a lot of them. And what happens when they miss 1 week of work is they literally have $0. If you have $0, you have zero food. You have no way to pay your utilities. And they're still collecting. The utility companies, banks, they're still collecting. They're maybe ordered not to put you out of your house right now or turn your electricity off right now. But once this pandemic is over, you're going to owe that money. When you don't have the money to pay it, then it will be shut off. So, but you have these people sitting at home. A lot of people are mentally unstable in the United States, probably everywhere in the world. So that's their outlet to their sanity every day, is being able to get out of the house, go to work, perform activities, duties, makes them feel like a human. You have them sitting at home, they're becoming very unstable. You're going to see the suicide rate go through the roof here. I made a post the other day of the veteran suicides have already increased 20%. So, and I guarantee you all of the suicides have gone up at least that much. And they're only going to climb. And every one tick of the population, or the 1% of unemployment, you have 4.4% of suicides and drug overdoses go up in every 1% of unemployment. Right now we're about 20%. We have gone up 20%. So you take 20% times 4.4% of the drug overdoses and suicide deaths that have already occurred. That's how many more they're going to have. So it's just there's so many deaths that are being caused by the economic shutdown. We've got to wake up. We got to wake up. There's going to be a civil unrest. That's happened several times throughout our nation's history, a civil unrest. We don't want that. They're already rolling out tanks in some of these cities. They have drones in the air watching. There's going to be a civil unrest. We have to put our foot down. Enough is enough. It's time to get the country opened back up. It's time to not let the government control us anymore. We are a country founded on our freedoms, and our freedoms are being trampled on. Not for the greater good of the people. If you believe that, study. You're ignorant. No government has ever cared about the lives of their people. Government has proven that they don't care about the lives of their people by sending them off in the thousands and tens of thousands to be slaughtered in senseless wars. That's happened since the beginning of any government. They will send their people off to slaughter. But now you think that they care about your lives, telling you to stay home? There's an agenda, and that's the agenda in America, is a Democratic vote from the election. And it's going to cost all of us. It's going to cost all of us. And so many other people's lives. The numbers of lives that will be lost due to the shutdown, my prediction would be 10 times greater than those that were lost from the virus. Wake up. Let's go back to work. Open the economy.